So if you're a football club playing in the 10th tier of English football and you win the league title finishing on 91 points, 12 points ahead of the second place team, you win 29 out of your 36 matches, which is an 81% win record, you would think that you'd be promoted up to the 9th tier for the following season, wouldn't you? No, wrong, because this team were actually relegated down to the 11th tier despite achieving all of those brilliant things. This is the story of Worcester Park. This video is kindly sponsored by One Football. Another thing that you can go and do on there is stay up to date with loads of news from across the world of football, as well as news from specific clubs by following those clubs on the app, and then you can scroll through the news section, which gives you all of their Twitter feed. Just keeps all the news in a nice, organised, central place. If you want to download this app, link is in the top line of the description. So the club founded in 1921, a part of a wider athletics club called Worcester Park Athletics Club, and they've played at their home Skinners Field since their formation back in 1921. Now this ground is very basic. The Surrey Sides ground has no floodlights, it has no seating, there's not enough car parking spaces for the level, and these regulations have been a lot tighter in the last couple of years. Clubs up until last season have been able to have below the regulations that are required for their ground but still be able to carry on in that league. But now the regulations have been made a lot harsher, and Worcester Park are one of the many victims of this. What it means is, despite their absolutely storming season last season in the Combined Counties Division 1, where they raced to the title, they are not allowed to rightfully be promoted. Those players have earned that promotion quite emphatically, really. To get to 91 points in a season that only has 36 games is absolutely crazy. But instead, they're not even being allowed to stay in the 10th tier because of those regulations. They've been relegated down to the 11th tier just to add insult to injury. So back in the 15-16 season, all the clubs in the 10th tier level were told of all the different upgrades that they had to make to their ground. Now, it wasn't actually enforced until recently, because at the start of the 17-18 season, this was also made aware to these clubs. And if they didn't comply with these regulations by the end of the 17-18 season, then they will be relegated down to the 11th tier no matter what. So Worcester Park were aware of these different regulations that had to be met, but they just essentially chose not to meet them. Now, the ground that they play on is also used for cricket, so installing floodlights around the pitch would make it awkward to play cricket on, apparently. According to a spokesperson from them, the amount of money that would be needed to be spent on the ground would totally prohibit cricket being played. Another requirement is a 100 capacity stand. I can't remember the last time we had 100 in the club watching football, let alone sitting down. And this is very similar to what happened at North Ferriby a couple of years ago when they were in the National League. They had to make a number of upgrades to their ground. They knew that if they didn't, then they would be relegated. But because of the investment needed to make those upgrades to the ground, and the fact that their crowds were very low anyway, there wasn't really a huge amount of point doing so just to stay up in that league, which you could say shows a lack of ambition. You want to pull out all the stops to try and get to a higher level, but North Ferriby thought, you know what, this isn't really worth the investment, so they just essentially accepted relegation before the season even started. We go back to Worcester Park. Another factor is that they are an amateur club playing in a semi-professional league. Their players still just pay subs to play, whereas most of the teams in the league, their players get paid money. And that sort of shows that they are a football club that does not have a huge amount of finance behind them. They can't afford to even pay their players, so how are they going to be able to afford major ground upgrades? The spokesperson also went on to say that we're not prepared to spend 40 to 50k because we don't have income streams to support that. Another option that could happen is for them to move to a different ground. Now, apparently they did look at other grounds, but they said that it wasn't workable for them to move somewhere else. Because it is part of the wider athletics club, they want all of it to essentially be in that same place. So moving it away from that, where it's been for 97 years, makes it a little bit pointless for the whole overall Worcester Park Athletics Club. Now, Worcester Park aren't the only team to be a victim of these ground grading regulations being enforced. At the start of the 18-19 season, 3 of the teams in the Combined Counties League Division 1 were also relegated down to the 11th tier because of this. Now, what that meant was that the team that actually finished bottom of the table on 17 points avoided relegation. That's crazy that 0 teams finishing at the bottom of the table actually got relegated. All of the teams being relegated were due to ground grading issues. And that actually opens up a wider debate of, should ground grading issues have that big of an impact? The point where the whole league season is completely invalidated because the team that finished in the rightful position to get promoted weren't promoted, they were relegated, and the teams that should have been relegated weren't relegated. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this situation? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think Worcester Park should have been allowed to be promoted into the 9th tier, or at least just stay in the 10th tier? Because being demoted to the 11th tier seems a little bit harsh, but they were given the ultimatum of upgrade your ground or be relegated. So really, they knew that it was going to happen. So is it really that unfair? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new here, remember to click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 15,000 by the end of the season. That'd be awesome if we could get there. Also hit that like button. Can we get 500 likes on this video? I hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.